Good evening and welcome to the Fort Clinton City Council meeting for October 23rd, 2018. Please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance, the Lord's Prayer, and a moment of silence for men and women serving overseas.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. And the kingdom, power, and glory.
Mrs. Pibley, will you please call the roll?
Dave Velo.
Here.
Joel Friedman.
Present.
Beth Gilman.
Present.
Roseanne Hickman. Here. Brian Hill.
Please excused.
Margaret Phillips.
Also excused.
Lisa Sardi. Present.
Thank you. Council, there are no approval of minutes this evening. The chair notes that certification has been received regarding compliance with the rules and notification of calling of this meeting. No guest presentation. Is there any public comment? No public comment. Mayor's not here. The auditor is here. Mr. Hatfield.
Nothing tonight, Mr. President Pro Tem.
Treasurer told me she wasn't going to be able to be here, but I think she was going to pass on the bed tax to Mrs. Pibley.
Yes, current bed tax to date is $141,213.71.
Thank you. Law Director's report, Mr. Wilson.
Nothing this time.
Safety Service Director's report, Mr. Martin.
Thank you, sir. The only report items that I have to share tonight is obviously we have several new ordinances. In case anyone hears, there was evidently appears last night sometime one of the poles in the park, just from age probably rotted. The Waterworks Park, they had a light on it, and came down. We discovered it this morning, and so if anyone asks, it was just an old pole. We're not going to replace it. It's basically the pole on the pavement area where for the Walleye Festival, where they do the entertainment tent, whatever. That light shines down on the top of the tent, so we can always place another light somewhere else, but we won't be replacing it this time. Fremont Road and Laurel were completed, and striping we're hoping may happen yet this week, as soon as they're able to get their contractor there. And that is all I have tonight, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. The police chief and the fire chief are not with us this evening. In our correspondence, we have message from the Salvation Army regarding the Red Kettle campaign kickoff November 7th, 2018. That will be placed with the clerk. If anyone, members of council or the public wish to view it. Second piece of correspondence is from Mr. James Zaffro of 721 Taft Street regarding our public services. Place that in the infrastructure committee with Mrs. Sarti. We can go voting on something like that tonight. Actually, Mrs. Gill, will you just pass that around? Makes sense to share it.
I believe we received the same letter.
It's a bit scratchy. Can you provide a Cliff's Note version?
On the letter?
Yeah.
They were basically just suggestions and demands for any future contract that the city would consider. Most of the requests are already covered in the bid book that we intend to put out. Those are all items, or a good bit of them were items that have been addressed, or that we would be looking at with any new contracts, depending on who actually were in it.
Thank you. Those are the only two pieces of correspondence. Council, do you have a motion to approve the correspondence as stated?
So moved.
Thank you, Mrs. Sardi. Is there a second?
I will second.
Thank you, Mrs. Hickman. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, the motion passes. Moving to correspondence this evening, third readings of ordinances and resolutions. Mrs. Pepperly, will you please read by title and summary only ordinance 3318?
Ordinance 33-18, an ordinance amending and restating chapter 919 of the codified ordinances of the city of Port Clinton, providing for citywide residential garbage and recycling services and declaring an emergency.
Thank you, council. Do you wish to take any action on ordinance 3318 this evening?
Mr. Wheeler?
Mrs. Sardi.
I move that we amend ordinance 33-18 as follows. In section 1, 919.01 defines paragraphs E, and OO of the current ordinance were corrected to EE was corrected by deleting excessive wording and the definition of multi-family dwellings. OO was amended by deleting an alternate definition of residential unit and then consecutively relettering the remaining definitions in section 1. The next would be section 6, 919.6B is amended to provide that waste containers be placed at the curbside side at 5 p.m. the day before collection, and the containers had to be removed within 24 hours after collection to storage in a garage, rear or side yard, or other inconspicuous location on the premises so that they are not visible from the public right-of-way in front of the residential unit. And lastly, third, section 11, 919.11 was amended to parallel 919.06B to provide that the placement of the waste containers would be inside a garage or any location at the site or near a residential unit or other inconspicuous location on the premises so that they were not visible from the public right-of-way in front of the residential unit. And section 19 of the ordinance was amended to adjust the commencement date of the new solid waste collection contract to February 1, 2018.
Motion on the floor. Is there a second?
A second.
Thank you, Mrs. Gilman. Discussion. My understanding is the amendment to ordinance 3318 is mostly technical without substantive changes from what the infrastructure committee voted to approve 2-0 back on that committee last month. Any further discussion on the motion? Mrs. Pepperly, can you please call the roll?
Jay Velo,
Yes.
Bill Friedman,
Yes.
Beth Gilman,
Yes.
Roseanne Hickman.
Yes.
Lisa Sardi.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion carries 5-0. Council, do you wish to take any other action on ordinance 3318 as amended?
President Velo,
Mrs. Sardi.
I move that we retain the emergency clause as to ordinance 33-18 as amended.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
A second.
Thank you, Mrs. Gilman. Any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Lisa Sardi,
Yes.
Roseanne Hickman,
Yes.
Beth Gilman.
Yes.
Bill Friedman,
Yes.
Jay Velo.
Yes. Thank you. The emergency clause is retained. Motion carries 5-0. Council, do you wish to take any further action on the ordinance 3318 as amended? Mrs. Sardi.
Thank you. I move that we adopt ordinance 33-18 as amended.
Motion on the floor. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mrs. Hickman. Any discussion?
I've got one question.
Mr. Friedman. 919.99 penalty. Does that refer to the people that do not abide by the citywide contract?
I didn't hear the last, I heard 919 what?
919.99.
Yes,
On page
yes, it
11.
would.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, Mrs. Pipley, will you please call the roll?
Bueller,
Yes.
Joel Freeman,
No.
Beth Gilman,
Yes.
Roseanne Hickman,
Yes.
Lisa Sardi.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion carries. The ordinance is adopted 4-1. Mrs. Pipley, will you please read by title and summary only ordinance 3418?
Ordinance 34-18, an ordinance authorizing and directing the Director of Safety and Service to advertise for bids and enter into a contract for the curbside pickup and disposal of garbage, rubbish, and recyclable material.
Thank you, Mrs. Pipley. Mrs. Pipley, council, do you wish to take any action on ordinance 3418?
Mr. Bueller,
Mrs. Sardi.
I move that we adopt ordinance 34-18.
Motion on the floor. Is there a second?
I will second.
Thank you, Mrs. Hickman. Discussion? Seeing none, Mrs. Pipley, will you please call the roll?
Bueller,
Yes.
Joel Freeman,
No.
Beth Gilman,
Yes.
Roseanne Hickman,
Yes.
Lisa Sardi.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion carries 4-1. Ordinance 3418 is adopted. There are no second readings of ordinances and resolutions. Moving to new readings of ordinances and resolutions. Mrs. Pipley, will you please read by title and summary only ordinance 3718?
Ordinance 37-18, an ordinance authorizing and directing the Safety Service Director to enter into a collective bargaining agreement with Teamsters Local 20 and declaring an emergency.
Thank you, Mrs. Pipley. Council, the administration is asking us to take this up, waiving the required readings as we typically have been asked to do and have done in the past when it comes to collective bargaining agreements. However, since we're short 2 people, short 1 to approve a motion to waive the 3 required readings, I would suggest scheduling a special meeting Thursday, October 25th, 8:30 p.m. For the purposes of the second reading of ordinance 3718. Would members of council be able to make it at that time?
Yes.
Yes.
Mrs. Pipley saying no, but we can set up something. Okay.
Motion and a second.
Mrs. Sardi. Yes?
I will move that we have a special meeting on October 25th at 8:30 p.m. to discuss ordinance 37-18.
Thank you. Motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Friedman. Discussion. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. An opinion from the chair, the motion carries. Mrs. Pipley, will you please make the proper public notifications for a special meeting of the council for the purposes of the second reading of ordinance 3718 for Thursday, October 25th, 2018, 8:30 here at City Hall, 8:30 p.m. here at City Hall.
Yes.
Thanks.
Welcome.
Would you please read ordinance 3818?
Ordinance 38-18, ordinance amending chapter 3 of the codified ordinances of the city of Port Clinton, Ohio to incorporate changes required in sections 718.80 through 718.95 of the Ohio Revised Code by enacting sections 183.22 through 183.37 of the codified ordinances and declaring an emergency.
Thank you, Mrs. Pipley. Council, do you wish to take any action on ordinance 3818? Seeing none, we'll put this into the Finance Committee meeting for consideration at that next committee. Moving to business from the floor, Mrs. Sardi.
Yeah. Just like to thank Mr. Holman for all the work that he's done, the trees downtown. Planters look very nice, and anyone else that helped with getting them planted and getting everything there. I appreciate Main Street, you know, and Ms. Chambers been helping us with people, so.
You're welcome.
Yes. And thanks on to that. Fremont Road and Laurel are nice. It's nice to come back into town after being out for a couple days last week. Came back on Friday to ride around. I will be canceling the next infrastructure on November 6th. The next Parks and Rec will be November 13th at 6:30 here at City Hall. There we go.
Thank you, Mrs. Sardi.
I as well think that the trees look great downtown there, and Fremont Road is looking very nice, drive's very nice. Haven't lost the hubcap yet, so we're good. That is it. Thank you, Mr. President Shortell.
Mrs. Hickman.
I like Fremont Road too. I drove down it, just to drive down it, because I've been avoiding it for such a long time that I forget to drive down it. So I did take a drive down it, and it was very nice. And that is all, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mrs. Gilman.
I like all the roads that look great. Fremont Road, Maxton Street, there's a list of them, we're on Jefferson next. The downtown trunk or treat is this weekend for the kids. That'll be downtown in the Main Street area. Businesses will be open, handing out goodies for all the children. It's a free event. Main Street puts it on, a great activity. Monday is the Spooktacular at the high school. That's also free for young children. The fire department's usually there. The K-9 officers are usually there. That's also a great event in the community. Lots of stuff happening. Zombie pump crawl for the adults on Saturday night. Just good to see all the action downtown on our beautiful new streets. The trees look great. The tree commissioner and the volunteers that helped him do that. And the mums downtown, which were done by Bolte Real Estate, Philip and Renee, they put those in. They look fantastic. And my understanding is the speaker system, the PA that'll be downtown, that's moving forward. So we should have music going into the community Christmas and PA system when they do the announcement. So Main Street's doing some great stuff. That's it, Mr. President Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mrs. Gilman. I just have a few items. The Planning and Development Committee meeting regularly scheduled for November 6th will also be canceled and to be rescheduled at a future date. I was notified by Mr. Martin and the Housing Council with the CRA, the Community Reinvestment Area program that they're recommending, a tax abatement agreement with Coastal Marine Development on Lakeshore Drive for a residential project. Next steps for council to act on that recommendation. Mr. Wilmer.
Depends on the type of development it is or what it's dealing with. If it's residential, then this goes to the housing officer to address and take care of it, certify once it's done.
It is residential, so we're just waiting to notify the schools.
And the Planning and Development Committee did receive a request from the school treasurer, Mr. Jeff Dornbush, about reconsidering the CRA program to consider negotiation on a case-by-case basis for residential projects. And we'll take that up in the next Planning and Development Committee meeting. And that is scheduled. The last Finance Committee meeting last week, we moved 3-0 to recommend terminating the concession stand license agreement with the Speedway company, who since exited, is my understanding. We received an update on where that item stands. Anybody?
I can
Start with coal and then we'll go from there.
Late last week, I received an interesting piece of correspondence included with a $1,000 check. To make a long story short, the letter basically indicated that they felt that the $1,000 check brought them up to date on their payments, which unfortunately is not the case. Additionally, in the letter, they had made mention that they had not received any correspondence, which, from my personal opinion, is untrue, as I've been sending them monthly invoices, and I know that Mr. Glover has sent subsequent letters to them as well. And Mr. Wilbur, I provided that information to Mr. Wilbur, and then Mr. Wilbur then sent out a follow-up letter. I'll allow him to speak to that if you wish to do so.
So at this point, there's at least been some payment towards what the amount that was outstanding has been made. There was further demand made on them to bring it totally up to date, which will expire at the beginning of next week, timeframe for that. So by the next meeting, we'll have a report for release to the status.
Thank you. Mr. Martin, do you have anything on that?
No, other than they indicated in the letter to from litigation that has been consumed.
Was it only their items that were removed? Did they remove those items last winter?
Not that I'm aware of.
That is all I have. Are there any?
Mr. President, one more thing. I forgot to mention.
Mrs. Gilman.
I'm sorry, the citywide trick or treat is on the 31st. 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. I believe it's on the city website. They've done a great job of sharing that information. That's it, Mr. President.
Council, any questions about the citywide trick or treat, Mrs. Gilman?
They can all go. I'll get
Watch out for those
else.
little ghosts and goblins.
Any other announcements or commentary from the audience? Seeing none, is there a motion to adjourn? Mrs. Sardi.
I move to adjourn this August 12th.
I will second.
Thank you. There's a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 She sent you one.
Thank you. We are
I know.
adjourned.